my club member, an amazing, amazing nationally certified anger management specialist, Ms. Tara Gardner. Good afternoon, everyone. How's everybody today? That's good. All right. My name is Tyra Gardner. I am a nationally certified anger management specialist. I specialize here in Philadelphia, in the Philadelphia area, and I also go around all over the United States talking to people about anger management, and in addition to going to businesses and speaking with businesses about anger management and how to manage anger management on the job, because as we know, sometimes anger can take over our business. And what I'm going to speak with all of you about today is how to build your brand and control your anger at the same time while de-stressing your life, because anger can affect your business. Now, what I have for all of you out that just got passed out to you today is our work-life balance oath. So if everybody could stand up, and if you have your cell phone, take your cell phone out, put it on selfie video, if you want to. Totally up to you. Give y'all a few minutes when y'all ready.
On video?
Yep, put it on video to yourself. Okay, are y'all ready? Okay, we're going to take the oath. I state your name. Promise to conduct myself in a professional manner at all times. I promise to be mindful of my behaviors while conducting business. I promise that when I begin to feel angered by any negative situation that occurs within my business or work, that I will immediately remove myself from the situation and think before I react.
I promise that when I begin to feel angry
I promise to leave my business, work problems there and not let it interfere with my family and home life.
I promise to leave my work.
I promise to maintain a work-life balance and to maintain a positive attitude every day.
I promise to maintain a work-life balance and to maintain a positive attitude every day.
All right, everyone. Now, you can all have a seat, and I'll explain to you why I told you all to put it on selfie video. Now, the reason and at the bottom, you can sign, and I'll also sign under it. Now, the reason I asked each one of you to put it on selfie video is because at this point, it becomes a legal document. Okay, so at this point, you can take and refer back to it at any time, because at this point, you made a pledge to yourself that you will commit to being work-life balance and not bring your business or your work at home to others. So you just made a legal bind with yourself to maintain and control your anger at all times. Fair enough, everybody?
Yes.
All righty. I think everyone probably has had an issue at some point in our lives where we might have had somewhat of an outburst or something at work. Anyone? Or we all have businesses here, and we've all had difficult clients, and we've had difficult situations occur. Am I right?
Yes.
All righty. Now, I'm going to go around the room and ask everybody, how did they handle a situation that they may have encountered? Go. You cursed out your boss. Okay, and what was your end result? Okay. All righty, so you kept the job. Well, that was a good thing. Okay, anyone else? This way.
A client kept on harassing me about an outfit, and I introduced her to Tony,
Okay, who was Tony?
the dollar sign.
Oh, okay. And what happened after that? Did you cut the client or? Cut the client, okay. Did you feel relief after that, or what did you feel?
I felt really, I was happy.
Okay, all right. Next table.
Over here?
Yeah.
I recently got sick and I had to cancel the appointment, and my client was upset because she had a party to go to. And I I was offended because I'm sick, I have my own issues going on, you're not being considerate. I'm doing a service to you, I appreciate your business, but I'm still human. And in a not so nice manner, I let her know how I felt, and I had to go to my prayer closet. I gotta always conduct myself in a business-like manner. With
Okay.
customers, they're not considerate. They
Okay.
don't care about you, they just want what you can do for them.
Right, exactly.
So I had an issue where a girl decided to cuss me out. And I was proud of myself that I bit my tongue, put my hands in my pocket, and I smiled and I said, do what you feel. However, after that, I was pissed at myself that I had cussed her out.
Okay.
I don't have one.
When you have to deal with not defending yourself and feeling like you've been walked on. Because see, I could have put it down. I was trying to take the high road. So now how do you deal with that?
Okay, so to deal with a situation like that, because I think everybody has been in a place where we wanted to handle it a whole lot differently than we did. Well, if you believe in a higher being, pray on it. I know it's kind of hard to say just praying on it. However, because we can pray, but we still want to go and we want to take care of business. You know, at the end of the day, you know, we still human and we have feelings too. If there's a way that you can get that situation and that person that you don't have to deal with them ever again, just make sure you know, cut all ties with them. And sometimes people have connections where you might end up crossing paths with them again at some walk of life. Just try to, you know, keep your peace as best you can. You know, take a deep breath, because one of the number one things that they say to do when you are becoming angry and stressed out is to take a deep breath, try to meditate a minute before reacting to the situation. Now, one thing that a lot of people fail to realize is when we react immediately, what ends up happening is we end up suffering in the long run. We can either suffer with our health, where we end up, I don't know if all of you know this, however, what happens is when we get angry and someone really takes us to that next level, our temperature rises.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we hear it in songs where they say your temperature rises. Yeah, our temperature really does rise. And it will get heated. All of a sudden, maybe about 10, 15 minutes into our temperature rising, and let's say that the situation has de-escalated. What happens is, all of a sudden, we start to feel a little calm, and we get lethargic. Next thing you know, we go to sleep. During that time, that's when we need to really be careful, you know, and just hope that the person doesn't come back and start us up all over again, you know, by waking us up or something, you know, because sometimes people will continue to move on and try to continue starting and arguing with us. Just try to be mindful of that, because our pressure, our blood pressure escalates, everything escalates when we are angry. During any type of situation. So you want to try to do what you can to maintain keeping calm. Take deep breaths. Do arm exercises if you need be. Just don't do the arm exercises to the point where you start swinging and punching and kicking and doing whatever. Because I know, you know, that's the first thing that comes to our mind. But the number one thing we need to do outside of taking a deep breath is step back and remove ourselves from the situation, in addition to thinking first. Because majority of the situations that we see happen, you know, with ourselves and with other people and how they can affect their brand is they don't think. And then all of a sudden they lose clients, they lose businesses. And I think everyone has been in a situation where we've dealt with a business owner who was very, you know, nasty to us, you know, and didn't know how to talk to us and still wanted our business at the end. And it was just like, how can I do business with you if you just talk to me like that? I can't work with you, you know, and just trying to figure that out. So basically, just being mindful of how we behave when we talk to them, you know. I know my grandmother used to always say, just kill them with kindness. You know, I know we really want to kill them, choke them out, but we can't kill them and choke them out. We just gotta, you know, grin and bear sometimes, especially if they have something that we want. We don't want to until we can find another resource that can help us. You know what I mean? Because where one person thinks they're the only one that can do it, guess what? They're not. There's always someone else out there that does exactly what they do. Anybody else have a situation?
I have one. Oh, sorry.
You okay?
rid of him is my husband,
Okay.
which makes it's really hard. But he criticized some of my work in front of a client of ours. And it was really hard to separate business partner, husband. And so I went on a walk and actually left and went to dinner and didn't make dinner. And that turned into it kind of escalated and stuff. But
And the reason that was is because your business and your work are together, you know, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, you know, and it's just basically trying to differentiate, you know, how to separate the two, you know, because that can be a problem. Did you explain to him about speaking to you in that manner in front of the client, or?
yeah, or just like, it's kind of like when you're in front of your kids, you
Right.
have to be a united front. And if you disagree, do that behind, you know, you don't do it in front of the kids, so don't do it in front of the client, sort of thing. So,
Okay, so when you do have a situation such as Olivia's, where someone is, you know, correcting you in front of a client, one thing you want to do to start to negate the situation is you want to explain to that individual, right as soon as they get ready to try to make the correction, you want to try to stop them, but you want to stop them in a calm manner and just say, oh, excuse me one second. Huh? No, you can't be, you know you can't be yelling at them. You know, as much as you want to say, just, you know, do a kind walk over, like, excuse me. You know, like, excuse me one second. Can I see you in the office? Or
Right.
Where's she at?
Either way.
or try to immediately change the subject to try to move on to something else, you know, that's with the contracts or whatever. Because the thing is, you don't want that situation to occur. And then once the client leaves, you can sit down and y'all can have a talk and discuss how can we manage this a little bit better, because we can't go on like this, you know, doing a situation like that. Because when you have husband and wife, it is hard, you know, to be a husband and wife, you know, to work together. You know, that can be a difficult situation. Everybody's not Ashford and Simpson. I'm sure they have their problems too. So, alrighty.
Oh, well, I have a bar in Atlanta, Georgia,
Okay.
and I don't know, a lot of people know about Atlanta, but it's the city that never sleeps, so it's a real stressful business. But I had a customer or client or what have you that come in that was pretty prestigious in that area, in the city council. And he came in, so of course, I need to, because he's the one who pulls the triggers on my permits and do all these things. But he got drunk and started acting a certain way. So when I say, well, for your own protection and mine, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave, because my server was like, I can't deal with him anymore. So he proceeded to put his hands on me. And so at this point in time, I mean, she'll tell you, I mean, I used to love to fight when I was younger. So that was, I was like, you finna bring it back. And so yeah, he grabbed my tie and was like, you know, just being real belligerent. So it took my security guard, actually, because he made sure that I'm okay at all times, this particular security guard. And it took him watching me and seeing that, oh shoot, it's about to go down. I think he flew across the room and grabbed me. But a lot of my customers, because of the customer service that we provide and everything, actually went on Yelp and went on different reviews and took up for it. So that you know, but if I didn't keep my cool, like usually somebody put their hands on me, it's a done deal in. But he was about 5 seconds from it, so yeah, it was very.
Well, I commend you for handling it the way you did, because a lot of people would have, you know, jumped and had it been someone else. You know, I'm very familiar with the Atlanta area. I put the college down there, so I'm very familiar with the Atlanta area. If it was anybody I knew, that would have been a done deal. So you handled it very, 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 very well. Unfortunately, things like that can happen in our businesses, and the thing is, we have to protect our brand. And that's exactly what you did. You protected your brand. And because you were adamant about protecting your brand and not, beating up this individual, you was able to get all of the Yelp reviews that you needed from the clients and customers that was there because of your reputation, and not have to deal with, him trying to, belittle you and take over your business and try to shut you down. Because I know Atlanta, even though Atlanta's big, Atlanta's small when it comes to the business world, and you have to know someone, down there. So it was good that you were able to handle things in that manner. Protecting our brand is like number one, especially when it comes to anger. And sometimes people will stress us out. People will stress us out in a way where we sometimes can't handle what's going on. Where we might not can handle a situation that's happening, but okay, cool. Thank you. But we have to do the best we can to protect our brand and to make sure that our anger and our stress does not affect our businesses. Now, when I talk about bringing work home, sometimes when we have a bad day, very bad day, and I think everyone has had that experience, we tend to bring the problem home with us. And because we're angry and mad at, Joe Blow Knucklehead at the job, we sometimes tend to bring and take it out on our children, our spouses, our animals, anything that's in our way. Some people be like, oh no, I just grab a bottle of wine. I don't know how many people have a bottle of wine that they gravitate to when they get home so that they can avoid the situation. However, the situation is still going to be there once it's over, and that's something that we need to be mindful of, because that's the last thing we want is to take our behaviors out on our family, and I think each one of us probably can think of one person that they know, or if it's not you, that has that situation that may have happened when you did take it out on a relative, not unknowingly, and sometimes the family like, why you got an attitude? You just got home from work, and I'm thinking, has everybody heard that statement before? Why are you nasty? You just got here, we ain't did nothing, and you're like, because, but you really don't have a real answer, it's just because, you heard that a lot. But that's what I mean by leaving that anger at home. Sometimes, I don't know, how many of you have a long drive home from your businesses, if your business is not home? Okay, so during your long drives, do you take that time to reflect on everything that's going on? Your whole day, or do you listen to soothing music, or make phone calls to people and talk to them about everything that's going on, or talk to them about, okay, this is what we're doing tonight, or this is what we're doing the weekend? Is that pretty much for the long drivers, what y'all do on the way home? Okay. Do you find yourself removing yourself from what's going on at the job? Once you get in the car and start on your way home? Okay, because it's easy. It's really easy to bring it home. I know I found myself with that.
For me, I'm 43. I've never really had problems with anger management, but
Okay.
maybe in the past year or two, my fuse is just a little bit shorter and I have a little bit less patience.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's a 40 thing or what.
Okay. What has your fuse been short about? Has it been about business, home, just everything, or?
I have a 9 to 5, which I enjoy.
Okay.
My 9 to 5, I love my 9 to 5, and I'm building, outside of that time for my personal business.
Okay.
But I think that the people that I work with, or the environment that I work in, is the people who are the supervisors. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, the decisions that people made, or what did you have to do to become a supervisor? Because I don't feel like that we're being supportive, or the place is just kind of just running itself.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Like, there should be policies and rules or checks and procedures, but it seems like the place just runs itself.
You know what's happening? But do you understand exactly what's happening and why you're having this short fuse now? And I think each one of us have had this fuse. You're having that fuse now because now you're in CEO mode. Okay, and because you're in CEO mode, you're already out there, you're starting your business, you're building your brand, you're on the top level now. And you're seeing all of the mistakes now that can be made within a business. You don't want to make the mistakes for yourself, and now what's happening is you're becoming irritated because you see this nonsense going on at your place of work, and you're like, wait a minute, what's wrong with these people? Because you know in your business, that's not going to be tolerated. You know, so once you become, once you enter into, okay, I want to start my own business, I want to do what I got to do to maintain. Once you get into that CEO frame of mind and you start building your brand, things start happening. I mean, I was the same way when I got started with my business. My mind was the same way. Like, I have a short fuse as well, and I'm like, always having to control my anger. And yeah, I'm an anger management specialist, but I tell everybody, I'm real first. I'm a therapist by trade, and I know I have to, keep my composure at all times, but sometimes people will make you turn up, just so to speak, you know what I mean? And I'm the first person that tells somebody, I'll turn up if I have to. Don't let me turn up. I'm gonna keep it as calm as I can, But when we become into that CEO frame of mind, a lot of little things will become short. Once you leave that place, once you leave your 9 to 5 and start working your business full time, you're gonna be fine. Everything is gonna start falling back into place. But what's gonna happen is, and that's for everybody, you're not gonna accept nothing from nobody. No kind of drama, no kind of nonsense, because you've seen the things that happen. You've seen from working your 9 to 5 and now going into your own business. So you know what you're not going to accept at this point. But your fuse is just because now you're in CEO frame of mind. And sometimes we know we want a business, but until we get into that CEO frame of mind, we there, but we not there, because we creeping there. We're taking baby steps all the way there. But once you start having those feelings like that, that's when you know you're there. So you on your way. You're on your way. It's gonna stop though. It's gonna stop once you start, making it. How can I put it? Trying to find the right words to put it. Basically, what you want to do is try not to go in too deep when it comes to your work.
As far as the expectations.
Yeah, from your job. Take mental notes of what's going on. No, that's not what you're going to accept, but don't go too deep. Because if you go too deep, you will blow your fuse. But just use the job as a vehicle right now. The vehicle to get you to where you need to be within your own business. You know what I mean? And once you start, starting to make a way to separate, because you're going to baby step your separation. You're not going to just go, bam, I'm going into business. Because if you do that, you will become angry. Things will, may not work out the way you want it to. So what you want to do is continue on and just, baby step it out and just start using it as a vehicle and start separating yourself that way. So this way you will be able to keep yourself even keel and you won't experience anger the way you have been lately. Because a lot of people will say, it's a 40 thing, but no, I'm 44. I'll be 44 this year myself, so I know. Yes.
Okay, so to kind of piggyback off what she was saying.
Yes.
The problem kind of manifests differently for me. So I'm very good at maintaining my calm. Like, people always say, we never see you get upset about anything. However, it's killing me inside.
Okay.
I am so angry and I'm so mad, and what I get mad about mostly is that, like she was saying, I feel like that person, now they feel like they got over on me. They feel like they just walked all over me, they told me how it's gonna be, and I just have to sit there like, okay. And then I get so mad at myself because I feel like I'm taken advantage of, and I feel like I'm being walked all over. So how do I keep that from eating me up inside and that manifesting in my health? Because that's not good for my health either, I have to assume.
Right. What you want to do when so that you don't feel like you're being taken advantage of, we could say, go to therapy, do all kinds of meditations, but at the end of the day, just sitting back and just sit down. I tell people to write a pros and cons list, okay? So writing this list out, in regards to the situation, okay? Because you want to try to weigh out, how you can deal with this situation differently so it don't happen again. You could confront the person, but we're confronting them, about everything, you know, that's gonna just give you more health problems and things that you don't need, you know? So basically, write a pros and cons list, the positives of the situation, the negatives of the situation. Sit down, go through each one, figure out how you can, you know, at this point, once you get the pros and cons list together, you can start deciphering, you know, you can start deciphering what you need to wean out, you know, in the situation. If the person is not a person that you really need to deal with on a regular, or if it's a way that you can take whatever situation it was and flip it, because a lot of people think that people don't have something called a brain. We all have a brain, and we have this thing in our brain that allows us to change things up to make it work for us. So what I would say do is write the pros and cons list together, evaluate the situation that you have going on, see how you can actually make it work for you. In the end, you actually won. They getting what they want, but you getting it done the way you want it done, not the way they want it done. Because sometimes people think everything their way is the right way, and sometimes it don't be. You know, we gotta do what we gotta do to keep ourselves happy, to keep ourselves sane, so that we don't, you know, lose it. You know, lose control over the situation. But that's one way for you to try to take over the situation, to try to gain some control over what is happening. You know, when it comes to anger in business, you know, it's not easy to work a 9 to 5 or to have a business, you know, because things will come up that will anger you, you know, and I think each one of us knows this, you know, but it's just trying to be positive and keep a positive frame of mind, and trying to keep positive without stress, trying to keep positive and not stress ourselves out worrying over the situation as time keeps going on and on and on. Maintaining stress is like a #1 thing, because we spend so much time at these places. Believe it or not, we're at our jobs and maintaining our businesses more than we spend our time with our families. You know, and I didn't realize that till one day I was going through a moment. You know, my mom always told me, my mom is back there, and she'll tell you, she always tells me, if you get to that point at work and you start crying, you need to go. And I was like, and the first time she said that, I'm like, what? And I was at a job and I got to the point and I started crying. You know what? I was like, she was like, you need to go. And I was like, you know, I ain't going till they throw me out. And I said, when they throw me out, that's when I'll go. And she's like, well, then you need to shut up then with all that crying stuff. And I was like, and I just said, I was like, they threw me out, which was good. I got laid off. That was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. And so when I got laid off, I said, okay, well, they'll hire me back, I'm sure, once, you know, everything, you know, goes over. Once this merger finishes, they hired me back. I went back in with a different frame of mind. They worked me like a slave dog, but it was all right. I said, okay, I'll fix them. You know, I'll get things my way, which I did. And I ended up getting laid off again. 2 layoffs from the same job, which was fine. You know, but when I went back that second time, my frame of mind was different than the first time when I was there. When I got laid off, I was happy to be laid off. I was like, yay, you know. But the second time, it was just like, okay. I was like, all right, I'm not going to let them take over my mind the way they did the first time. You know, I'm not going to let them get me to that point where I'm at work crying. You know, not at work crying, but coming home from work crying and focusing in on everything that's happening at the job. You know what I mean? My focus was, I need to do what I need to do. I started my first business back in 1997, and I was like, I like to work for myself. I need to work for myself, and that was my whole standpoint. I need to work for myself, and I've done everything I could to try to work for myself. You know, so being in this game for 20 years now and working for myself, I work for myself, but I still have a 9 to 5. You know, that I have to do. You know, but now it's thinking differently while maintaining these businesses, because sometimes things will take you there, you know, and it's just like, you don't want to stress yourself out working over it. I do have some things for you, for all of you today, that I'm going to pass out. Okay, what I'm passing out to all of you are,
Is there chocolate in there? That would make me less.
Okay, so what I'm passing out to all of you, this is our stress survival kit. And once everybody gets it, I'll read over. Aspirin? No, we did not do aspirin. No aspirin located in this. Shock ass. How do all of you manage stress right now? Wine. I hear one wine. Exercising.
DVR. One
DVR.
of my favorite shows, and then I watch them.
Okay, television. Alrighty.
Cat videos.
Talk to your husband.
Cat videos on the internet.
Cat videos on the internet. Whatever gets you through the day. Whatever gets you through the day. Alrighty, so what the stress survival kit is a little kit that I came up with to try to get you through the day. So what it has in the kit is a fruit chew to remind you to choose to stay calm when things get tense. There is a playing card inside also to help you deal with challenges. The playing cards to help you deal with challenges. They're also a Laffy Taffy to remind you that laughter is an instant stress reliever. Safety pin to help you hold everything together. Because we use a safety pin to hold everything together. And I think everybody knows about that. Peppermint patty. So you remember to keep your cool. So there is a piece of chocolate in it. And your watch. For those that wear watches or use the time on your cell phones to aid you in using your time wisely.